love this first reading that we have today. There is no such thing, really, as an anonymous Christian. There are some theologians who write about anonymous Christians, Christians who are living the way of Christ even though they've not heard about Jesus Christ. However, once we join the Christian community, once we are baptised, we are not anonymous. We don't come to church as anonymous people. We are known by God, but we are also known by each other. And I look at this first reading today, and you can sort of, from our own context today, we assume it was very easy to write a letter, to send a letter from one side of the world to the other. We do that very easily today. You can send a text message and it'll appear in some part of the other world, somewhere in the world a few seconds later. Well, that wasn't the case 2,000 years ago. To write a letter, you needed parchment. And that was very expensive. Even just to get the New Testament as we have it, it was an incredible effort for someone to be able to just have the materials available, the ink available. Then to have someone who was available to even write. Then they didn't have a postage service, or they didn't have FedEx or Australia Post or all these other things to get these things to arrive effectively at the other end. And so that's an incredible thing in itself. Here we have Paul, who's writing to the community in Rome, to some of his very good friends, Priscilla and Aquila, who were tent makers as well, who were great friends of Paul. But we're told all these other names as well, people who Paul knew, who were part of the church in Rome. But then we have the situation where Paul was at the time, and he's there mentioning, we get a mention of the person who's actually writing this, the scribe, the house of the person where they're in, the person who is the leader of the community in that place as well. All these people's names are mentioned because when we're Christians, we are not anonymous. We know each other. And even we just look around here, we know each other as well. And on a weekday basis, that's a beautiful thing. We can get to know each other. We become part of each other's lives because we aren't anonymous. Christ is dwelling in me, but Christ is dwelling in each other as well, each of us. And so we care and look after and do what we can to nurture the body of Christ, all of us. A few weeks ago we had a morning tea, and I've been thinking about this just when I was preparing for today, and I was thinking maybe here on the first Saturday, maybe we should make a morning tea a regular thing maybe on the first Saturday of the month after our 8 a.m. Mass, so we can just get to speak to each other outside of the context of the liturgy. It was a very beautiful thing when we had it, it was 3 weeks ago or so, when we were our first sort of weekend back. So that's something maybe we can think about. I'd love to have your comments on that as well. Some parishes have name tag Sunday, where everyone puts a name tag on, which is a great way of people just getting to know each other. I know in some parishes, I'm not real good with remembering names all the time. I don't know what you're like, but I'm not great with it either. And having people wear name tags every now and then just helps to trigger. I know, I've seen this person, I know, what's their name? Okay, it just helps to get into our brain because we are not anonymous. We are known, we are loved, we are prayed for, and we're part of this body of Christ. And this reading today reminds us so clearly of that, all of these names. It's a bit like Paul's disciples almost. He's got all of these names where we have in the gospel Jesus listing out all those who travelled with him. Here we have Paul listing out those in Rome and listing out where he is when he's writing his letter as well. So let's know that we are known, that we are loved, that we are part of the body of Christ. We are not anonymous, but we journey together in the ways of Christ's love now and into the future.